The Alice Cooper Show. I, for one, love this album, even though Alice can't stand it. Mainly because he knows he was completely, anesthetized during this whole show. It follows up, it's more or less a continuation of the Lace and Whiskey Show. But they add in, it's not as many Lace and Whiskey songs. There's a few. It's got You and Me, and it's got some of the stunts from it. But all in all, this one was, he wants to forget this, mainly because again he was so out of it, and it's a shame because I like some of the versions that he does of these songs on here. I like some of the abbreviative nature of the songs. Check it out though. It's not a bad live album. He did a better one in 1997, which I will get to later. And that's the main reason he went back and did that one, because he said, I haven't done another one prior to this one since the 70s, and I was a drunken mess. So he wanted to do one where he was completely sober and in control. From the Inside. This is a fantastic album. In fact, this is the tour that my mom and dad first saw Alice on together. Dad had already seen him previously. So I guess even before I was born, the seed was more or less planted that I would ultimately like Alice Cooper. Okay, like doesn't even really cover it, but From the Inside is based on his experience in the insane asylum and all the people he met. The stage show was meant to reflect that of an insane asylum. And it's got one of the coolest covers. It's a close-up of his face that opens up for the later shows and put in with Paris Hilton. And it fits so perfectly. Then there's The Quiet Room, which is where he spent a lot of his time. And then we move to Nurse Rosetta, a quirky character who Alice one minute wants to kill and the next minute he wants to fantasize about. And Nurse Rosetta has played a huge role over the years in the shows. And then there's the insane story of Millie and Billy, a couple that put Bonnie and Clyde to shame. Millie and Billy, they're creepy. And then there's Sirius, a person who has a serious gambling problem. And then there's another tender ballad Alice did that was another hit single for him that he sent. Was a real letter that he created and sent to his wife. The song's called How Are You Gonna See Me Now? Alice was terribly afraid that the alcohol was how she knew him. That Cheryl would not like him now that he's sober. They had, he thought, she's going to see me for how I really am, and she's not going to like what she sees. Cheryl says she saw through that. They got reacquainted. They were fine. True love conquers all. Then there's For Veronica's Sake, about a dog that was put in the pound, and Alice, or somebody should I say, in the asylum, needs to get out to get that dog before they gas her. Then there's Jackknife Johnny, a psycho-crazed Vietnam vet who, has just got a few too many screws loose. And finally, kind of the theme to the whole album, Inmates, We're All Crazy. In fact, that's one of my favorite lines on the whole album. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. And don't think we're trying to be bad. No, an innocent crime seemed alright at the time, not necessarily mad. We watched every day from the bus, and the driver would say, that's where lunatics stay. I wonder if he's talking about us. From the Inside was a great comeback of sorts for Alice. Right after his stay in the asylum, he sobered up. sadly, this would not be his last battle with alcohol. From the Inside is definitely a major highlight for me as an Alice Cooper fan. I really like it. It showed that Alice could take his own demons and make something of it. But what's coming next? Alice had to confront something now known as new wave music, disco, all that stuff. All that stuff was happening at this time, and so Alice changed with the times. And this is a period that a lot of Alice fans call the dark period. Alice refers to it as the blackout period because he honestly doesn't remember recording these next 4 albums, which I will divide up into sets of 2. You know, the die-hard Alice fans like these albums, especially the last of the 4, but you'll have to find out about those. But this concludes the 70s of Alice's career, and you know, we ended, I think, on a pretty damn good high note. We'll enter 1980 with Flush the Fashion and its follow-up, Special Forces. So, until next time, I'll see you in the quiet room.